Hello everyone. In this topic, we're going to talk about advanced statistics for data science. If we want to know about our data science in detail, one should be very much aware of the statistics behind it. Because without statistics, we cannot deep dive some real-time problem understanding and the relationship between the data set. Based on our relationship between dataset only, we will be able to make our decision making. So let's see how we going to proceed this topic. So I'm going to talk about few things in this complete tutorial. First, we'll be talk about the statistics. We're going to talk about different population and sample distribution types of data, understanding of central tendency, measure of dispersion, skewness, hypothesis testing, different types of hypothesis testing, level of significance, different types of test statistics. Also, we're going to talk about determining the probability, one sample t-test, independent sample t-test, pair t-test, z-test, ANOVA test, and chi-square test. So this is all about that we're going to discuss in this topic. Moving further, let's talk about why we require statistics and what is statistics. So as mentioned here, statistics is a group of methods used to collect, classify, analyze, present and interpret the data so that we are able to make decision. If we don't have statistics, we are not able to make decision making, that is for sure, and that is why not in our modern world we are using statistics from very ancient time for different decision making stuff, like in the kingdom of government had to collect some facts and figure relating to the populating army, housing, food and etc. so that they can decide based on some certain evidence. Also, it is evident that the statistics was closely related with the administrative affairs for a state in earlier days. That's why in those days any sort of facts and figure related to states of affair of a society or a state was termed as statistics. Now, why it is important? Let's discuss this. So, when we talk about the very basics of statistics, we get an idea that what it gives us the idea that it is a science which provide a structured method to understand a real life situation of any problem. When to use? We can use statistics in any situation where the result is not known, need to be predicted, not meeting the requirements and need some improvement and etc. How are we going to apply statistics? That is also very interesting. So basically statistics deals with multiple things like collecting the data, compiling the data, analyzing the data, interpreting the data, and then we are able to make decision making based on that. So statistics is a complete process of data collection till the decision making capability, and there are different activities of statistics, different terms are there that we have to discuss in this complete session. If I tell you about types of statistics, basically statistics are mainly divided into two parts, and these are descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. Let me draw something for you. So let's suppose these are the two different types of statistics we have, that is descriptive and inferential. So when I talk about descriptive statistics, it gives us an idea from a raw data, it helps us in this process to organize our data, okay. Then it also helps us to visualize, or you can say that, to display. Also, it helps us to describe our data using different types of tables, tabular form, or different other graphical representation with the help of in this process. And also then we can, with some certain statistics process, we can summarize it. Okay, so how are we going to summarize, how are we going to define in detail about descriptive statistics, I will be discussing. And then we have one method that is called inferential statistics. So when I talk about descriptive statistics, it is the past understanding on the data. So past understanding with the data. So in descriptive statistic, it helps us to make our data actionable. Okay, and in this inferential statistics, it is about the future perspective on data. Like based on our actionable information, what are the things we can do? So inferential statistics consists of method that use sample result to help make decision or prediction about a population. So this is what we're going to discuss in inferential statistics. I need to discuss few more things in descriptive statistics. Let's look at further. So before we discuss about in detail about descriptive statistics, do first understand about our types of data, and then we'll be discussing in detail. So first we have to understand about population and sample. So in very general term, if I have to tell you population, so population consists of all the element on a data. Let's suppose you have a data, any kind of data we have. Let's say we have a COVID-19 data, and we have a data of different countries, like we have India, China, and then USA, and different other countries are there. Now based on all the data, let's suppose if I wanted to do some analysis on India data, so out of this total data, this will be called as population for us, and this is the sample size on which we're going to do our analysis. So a portion of population selected for study is referred to as sample. I told you a survey that includes every number of population is called a census. The technique of collecting information for a portion of population is called sample survey. A sample that represents the characteristics of population as closely as possible is called representative sample. And also a sample drawn in such a way that each element of population had a chance of being selected is called a random sample. So if the chance of being selected is the same for each element of the population, is called as simple random sample. Okay. Now this is very important that we need to understand about that what is data, because we talk about what we're going to discuss in descriptive statistics. Now first of all we should aware of data, then only we can understand about different other statistical process on our data. So what is data? That is very much important. So when I say data, so first of all we should understand data is nothing but it's a collection of raw facts and figure. Collection of raw facts and figure. So when I say collection of raw facts and figure, we have to understand that your collection of raw facts and figure can be gathered from any sources. It can be a textual information, it can be a MP3, it can be a video file, it can be other form of data that is possible. So these are some certain data in the form of images. So we have these raw information that is not right now collected as a source, not actionable. So what is data? As I said, data are factual information used as a basis for reasoning, discussion or calculation. Often this term refers to quantitative information. It is a plural form and singular is called datum. Why we require to collect data? We require to collect data for successful organization have a common language to communicate, and this common language promote objective in decision making process. Also after this we measure of where we are in critical to determine where we should be. So if we have a data and then we make decision based on our different study, different analysis to determine what we are doing and what we have to do, or we have reached our intended goal or not. And a good data collection simplified the problem solving effort. If the solution costs more than the problem, it is not worth it. So that a good data collection should concentrate as much on measuring problem as it does on measuring solutions. So this is what we call data. Moving further, as I said, why do we collect data? So data comes from product, services that is delivered to customer, and it varies based on the way it is collected to fulfill a particular objective. Given the variety of data, it is also essential to understand their intrinsic characteristics. So data collection on what we want to know is based on objective. Let's suppose we'll take an example of banking process. So you wanted to know your customer, either they are male or female. So we have to very much particular about what to collect in a form of data for our analysis. We require their residence. We require either they have any saving account or any current account. Then another form to know the customer opinion, either it's a bad, good or excellent, either they are disagree, neutral or agree. And it can be for scaling your satisfaction based on 1 to 5 scale, performance grading, or objective to understand magnitude of business, right? For a business understanding, like what we have done in last financial year, total bank accounts open in this quarter, total insurance policies sold, and also to understand the dynamic of business. So based on our requirement, we collect the data. Okay. Now we have to discuss about different types of data. In order to understand different types of data, we can understand that a data could have a different forms, and it is measured based on different required form. So let's suppose we have an example here, that is Mr. Arnon. We have some certain information that is called qualitative information we wanted to gather. What is qualitative? I will be discussing. So these are some certain information that he is a bodybuilder, he is having short hair, he has a lot of muscle. Okay. Discrete data, as he has 2 legs, he has 5 children. So in order to understand about qualitative and discrete data, you have to understand that qualitative information is a kind of information in which we talk about it's not in a numerical form, it is more into a categorization form. Okay, when we categorize something, that is the qualitative information, and there is a quantitative. So we will be talking about the qualitative discrete understanding. So discrete data is information that can be categorized into classification. Discrete data is based on counts. Only a finite number of value is possible, and the value cannot be subdivided meaningfully. Okay, so discrete data, in this qualitative process is having, which have possible categories. Okay, let's suppose we have a data of a diabetes patient. So based on some certain information, we categorize whether a person is diabetic or whether a person is not diabetic. So it can be categorized only. It cannot be something that it is in middle of something. Either it is diabetic or either it is not diabetic. So when we have a category under the section of data is called discrete data. Okay, that the number of students in a class. So number of student would be, either 10, 15, 16, 20, 30. It cannot be 12.5, right? Continuous data, when I talk about continuous data, so continuous data is in information that can be measured on a continuum or a scale. Okay, continuous data can have almost any numeric value, subdivided into finger increment depending on the precision of measurement. Okay, so example, if I talk about continuous data, that you could even measure it into a fraction of second, time in a race. So let's talk about another more understanding on discrete and continuous. So continuous are real number, discrete is a whole number. Continuous, normally they are measured in values, normally they are counted values. Continuous cannot taken in a single value, where discrete can take 0 or non-fractional positive values. Continuous, they are in a continuous form. Discrete, they are in a step of 1, 2 and so on. Required less sample size continuous, discrete required more sample sizes for more precision. If I talk about data, as I said, when you have a numerical form on the data, if it required in a qualitative form, it's a numerical form, so it is further divided into discrete and continuous, and one is categorical feature. If I talk about, based on level of measurement, so based on level of measurement, data are further divided into qualitative and quantitative. Okay, so qualitative data are further divided into nominal and ordinal. Quantitative data are divided into interval and ratio. So in order to understand qualitative and quantitative in detail, let's discuss here. So first of all, a quantitative variable and a qualitative variable can be differentiated. That a quantitative variable can be measured numerically, where qualitative variable cannot assume a numerical value. Okay, a variable in quantitative variable, numerical value have some quantitative data, and variable whose values are countable is either in a discrete or continuous form. Okay, where qualitative variable cannot assume a numerical, can be classified into 2 or more non-numeric categories, is called categorical variable, and the data collected on such a variable is called qualitative data. And as I said, it is further divided into nominal and ordinal, and qualitative variable are in a numerical form. Quantitative variable are further divided into discrete and continuous, as I discussed, and qualitative variable divided into nominal and ordinal. When I say nominal variable, we can understand that, let's suppose we reach out to a restaurant and in their menu there is a section called beverages. In beverages, there is some certain beverages there, that is coffee, milk and tea. Okay, so these are different categories of a data. So, but these are beverages. Okay, they don't have any order. So this is called a nominal variable. Where ordinal variable is one more step further. That is, when you reach out to a milk, okay, there are some certain categories. We have small, we have medium, and we have large. So this is called ordinal variable. Okay, I hope you understood. And already I discussed about this further divided into that is interval and ratios. That this data, that is called quantity variable. This quantity variable are in a form of interval and ratio. So when I say interval, when we have a continuous variable having value in a logical order, okay, that relative distance between the value are meaningful, is called as in a possible range is a interval value, where ratio measure have a true 0 point. For example, Celsius and temperature. 0 degree Celsius does not imply the absence of heat. So a ratio have a specific range in between the data. Okay, and in this interval, we have a continuous variable. Okay, that increase from certain point to certain point. So this is the difference between ratio and interval. Now let's understand which type of data it is. When I say number of employees attending any webinar training, so number of employees is what? Can you say that? Okay, let's understand. So when I say number of employee, it is not can be categorized further. It cannot be in a decimal form, so it is a discrete. Current temperature. So temperature is what? it's a continuous data. Quantity of milk, that is a continuous data. Number of customer complaint, discrete. Height of a basketball player, it's a continuous data. Amount of money in your possession now, it's called discrete. Total time spent in completing webinar training is called continuous data. Total run scored in a cricket match is a discrete data. So this is what about different types of data. And in next session we'll be talk about more into descriptive statistics.